Welcome back, everybody. My name is Jim. I'm the Lake Effect Gardener, and today marks the beginning of the growing season officially here at the Lake Effect Cottage. So couldn't be more excited about what's going to be happening in this video. I hope you will enjoy it. So kick back, grab yourself a cup of tea, and let's get stuck in. I was wondering if perhaps I was throwing you for a loop being here in the kitchen. I'm not preparing any food for you. Well, in a way I am, I suppose, aren't I? I'm preparing food for the growing season, which is really, really exciting. But I would like to take a moment to just thank everybody for your outpouring of support and your lovely comments on my last video about making hot cross buns. That was, like I had said in my video, that was a whole day event, but I actually really enjoyed it, and I really appreciate everybody who has sent their well wishes and whatnot, and I really hope those people, you know, who commented in YouTube land that you were going to give it a go, that you will, and please let me know, you know, send me a message, let me know how it goes. For those people who are new to the channel, I also have a Facebook and an Instagram page, so you can go and check those out. Those are a really great way to get in touch with me if you need to. I would also like to thank the lovely Richard and Paul for sharing this link to their page, Planet Vegetaria. That was very thoughtful and kind of you guys, and I was really excited about that. I was at my parents' house shoving my face with hot cross buns and nearly choked when I saw it. Of course, I showed my twin sister, who positively loves Richard and Paul. So anyways, so in the kitchen, we're gonna be sowing some seeds. Now, I'd like to say first and foremost, if you are new to gardening, it's really important that there is a certain amount of planning that goes on. I have everything meticulously ready to go even before I even started filming this video, because I know that there's a lot of steps that happen in between, a lot of things that take time. So my suggestion is to be as organized as you possibly can, first and foremost, and I had mentioned this in my other seed video when I was unveiling what I was going to be growing this year, is the use of a plan book, okay, or a garden journal or a garden diary. Before I did anything, February 18, and then everything that I was going to be doing today, sowing, okay? This is a great reference tool. Not only are you keeping track of when you did things, you're also going to be able to keep track of when the seeds germinate, when you pick them out, when you do things like that. It is a valuable resource, okay? There's also something very intrinsic about writing down everything, keeping track of everything. So get yourself, even if it's just, you know, a bundle of loose leaf papers and you throw it into a folder, that works. You don't have to be bougie like this and get yourself an official journal. It is really nice though. Write it all down. Then next year, when you go to start your seeds and you're saying Alleluia because the winter is, well, you wouldn't be able to tell here, but you know, coming to an end and you can start producing food again, you can look back and say, this worked, this didn't, I planted this when, this emerged out of the soil at this point, etc., etc. Okay? If anything, it's a really good insurance policy, so don't be shy. Get yourself something to write in and keep track of everything, okay? These are your babies, okay? And just as some mothers and parents out there will do, is they'll keep a baby book and they'll write, you know, so-and-so was, you know, a foot tall on this date, la la la. It's the same thing. We are watching over our babies. Okay, enough of that. So everything is filled out that I need to fill out. I went into my seed tin. I grabbed the seeds that I wanted to plant today. Now, for the most part, I'm going to be starting alliums, peppers, and eggplant, or aubergine. So that's what I've got set up over there. I'm gonna give you a quick look. I'm doing everything at the sink today that blessed, lovely, ancient sink that I found on the roadside that has the double drip pans on it. It is amazing for starting seeds. Why am I not in the shed? Because it's snowing and it's freezing. So, most of the things I'm going to be doing are vegetables, and I will be doing some herbs, medicinals. I really don't think we say herbs here in America, unless you're Martha Stewart. Anyways, medicinals. And for that, I have this, of course, it's an antique. Why wouldn't it be? This contraption that my friend Leah, she's my coworker, love her to death, hi Leah, gave this to me, and she's like, I think he'd like this. I think she gave this to me, or was it Emma? I don't remember. Never mind. They're both fabulous. I've worked with both of them. Anyways, this is the predecessor of a Rolodex. Okay, it looks like a miniature card catalog, and you can break it up A to Z or Z if you're across the pond, and it fits seed packets perfectly. Not only that, it's in this very, very stylish quarter-sawn oak, and it's dovetailed, so it's, you know, it's right up my alley. Okay. Another thing I have here is a Phillips head screwdriver, okay? And I'm going to show you why I have this here. So let's go over to the sink. Let's talk about the seeds that I'm growing. Now, first and foremost, I'm going to be sowing my seeds not only in modules or seed trays, or you know, the ones that are separated into small cells, but I will also be doing it in seed trays. Now, these aren't official seed trays. These are my official seed trays, and these are just mushroom containers. And I never throw anything out, especially a lovely little container like this. So over here in these smaller mushroom trays, I'm going to be having my alliums. Over here in this large takeout container, compliments of the Olive Garden, I will be planting yarrow. Now, this has a very long growing period. You have to start them very, very early, and I've tried growing it before. It's very temperamental. I'm going to give it another go. But what I did with all of these is I took that screwdriver, I heated it up over on the range, so it got nice and hot, and I melted, I don't know if you can see it or not, I melted holes on the bottom of it. All of these seedlings are going to need a great deal of drainage. You do not want your seedlings sitting in wet soil, okay? And then I did the same for these seed trays, and let me see if I could just get this out here. You can probably see the holes better that way. Okay, so I will fill these up and I will just sprinkle the seed right on top of it. Let's move over here. And these are the trays that are, well, they're cells, okay? And this is a Pro Hex Professional Seed Starting Tray by Ferry Morse. I've never used it before, so I thought I would give it a go. Then there are, let's see, 12, 24, 36, 48. So there's 72 cells, which is great. I split everything up into 9 cell segments. And what I did, instead of using labels, I used a Sharpie, a gold one, and I broke them up into 9 cell segments. And that way I can see exactly where the cutoffs are. I also took my Sharpie and I labeled each section right on the cells themselves. Now, some of you might think, well, that's it. That's the only thing you could use those for. Not completely true, because I could just take a scrubby to this and it'll come off without any problem. So let's look at what I'm sewing. We'll start right over here from the left. I'm going to be doing 9 each of eggplant or aubergine. And when I talked about these in my video for seed starting, I talked about the Midnight Moon hybrid seeds that my father gave me, and then the Black Beauty. Now, the Midnight Moon is supposed to harvest sooner, okay, yield sooner than the Black Beauty, so my hope is to have a succession. Then we're moving over to the chilies, or the hot peppers. So I'm doing 9 of each, okay, Serrano Tropicano, Paseo Bajo, Bajío. I always want to say Bajo. I don't know if they're short. Cayenne, long slim, and then Big Jim, I just like the name of it. And then 9 more segments each of the sweet pepper Slovana hybrid that my father gave to me, and then the YOLO Wonder sweet pepper as well. So I'll have 9 of each. Moving over here to the seed trays, I'm going to be planting in the black trays my yellow onions. So I'm doing Walla Walla, Elsa Craig Exhibition. Then I'm going to be doing American Flag Leek. And then my red onions, this is the Southport Red Globe. And as I mentioned before, this is going to be for the Yarrow. So we're gonna head over to the soil, the compost, and we're gonna start getting these seeds in the ground. Oh, happy day, this is so exciting, I cannot wait, yay. So we're over here at the sink now. I've got this large plastic tote filled with seed starting compost. Now this is a coconut core slash multi-purpose slash vermiculite mixture. So it's really, really light. Okay, I have a feeling that it's going to drain really, really well. I'm continuing to break it up because I did have to moisten it out of the bag. It was completely dry. So that's definitely one of those steps that needs to be taken before you do anything else. But just can I say for a hot second that, call me weird, okay, but I know all those people who do garden have done the same thing. That smell of earth, oh. It smells amazing. I also like the smell of decomposing leaves. I don't know why I'm weird like that, but whatever. So I'm gonna swing you around and I'm just gonna show you briefly how I fill these up, okay? So here we go. Bring you around, dip you down. And it's really great. The sink is really, really wonderful because if I get dirt, mud, whatever on it, I just rinse it off and it just pours right down into the sink. Okay, so I've taken out all of the seed packets from these areas. I did make sure that I labeled these packages, these seed trays out. So I know it says Old Glory Leek, but that's what the American flag is. We call it Old Glory. So we're just gonna fill these up one at a time. Okay. And then what I like to do just to get things to settle is just give it a tap. Okay, we're gonna do the same with the Southport Red Globe. Now, I've never ever grown onion from seed before. I've never grown leeks from seed before. So this in its way, its own little experiment, and if all goes well, I should have a decent amount of onions to plant in the ground when the weather warms up, if it ever warms up. However, if not, I do have an insurance policy in the works, and that is seed potatoes. Seed potatoes, oh my gosh. I meant, right, onion sets. Onion sets, not seed potatoes. Although I did order my seed potatoes and they haven't come yet. Not that I'd have any moment of time right now in all of the snowiness to actually put them in the ground, but it would be nice to maybe, I don't know, start chitting them. That would be lovely. Okay, now I'm gonna fill this big mamacita up. I'm not gonna go all the way. I do want a little bit of space. Okay, I didn't go all the way up. I don't need to go all the way up. As soon as the first true leaves are established on these yarrow plants, I'm gonna prick them out anyways and put them into a bigger growing space so that they have room to expand. So this is not gonna be their forever homes. Okay, super. So I got these done. I'm gonna pull these over here. Okay, now I'm gonna go with these hex cells, or whatever I want to call them. Okay, so I'm actually going to do this. Put this right in here, and I'm just going to go ahead. Anything that falls in the sink you can scrape out. I'm just going to fill these up. here. Now, I normally do not buy these growing cells for myself because I have so many in storage, plastic from plants that I bought from other people's plants. They just give them to me, which is lovely. But I thought I want to try to get as many plants as I can under one dome as to save on space, because you will see where I put these seeds to start them off is not a terribly large space. Okay, and the hope is that once we have a decent germination, fingers crossed, and the weather improves, I will be able to move these into the greenhouse. And then eventually, once they have gotten bigger, I can move them into the polytunnel if I can ever get that bad boy up and running. Okay, beautiful. All righty. So now we're going to put some seeds in these bad boys. How exciting. Now, when it's time to sow your seeds, be very thoughtful about the directions that they give you. Okay, so this says start indoors 8 to 10 weeks before last frost. Sow seed 1/4 inch deep, 1/4 to 1/2 inch apart from soil temperatures between 60 and 75. So this needs heat to germinate, and it says it needs a depth of 1/4 of an inch. Okay, so what I'm going to do is open my packet, and I'm going to very carefully sprinkle the seed on top and try to keep the seeds as scant as possible. Okay, so those are the Southport Red Globe. Elsa Craig, same exact directions for that. Okay, same thing. So I'm going to do light sprinkle. Now I'm probably going to have, with any luck, more onion seedlings that I know what to do with, which is fine. Depending on how successful this is, I have plenty of friends and family who would not mind having some of these plants, and I'm happy to grow it for them. Right, and then last, the American flag leek. Same idea. Come on. Gotta really be careful because onion seeds are dark and they kind of blend right into the compost. So you can't really see them. All right, and then last, the yarrow. Boy, I did a really, there we go. Okay, now I'm gonna tamp this down a little bit more because, well, I'll tell you why in a little bit. Okay, that'll be more than enough. Now, once your seeds are on your compost, what you're going to want to do is you're just going to sprinkle lightly. Just a little bit. Of this lovely seed starting compost, which smells delicious, on top. All right. Set 1/4 inch deep, which is 1/4 inch is pretty significant. Okay, I left about 1/4 inch from the top when I put the soil in originally, so basically it's just filling it to the top. And then I'm going to just lightly press down the compost. You want the seeds to make contact with the compost, because if it doesn't, you're not going to get a very good germination. Now, if you noticed, I did not do the same with the yarrow, because the yarrow does not require to have any sort of compost on top of it. The seed lays on top, and that's how it germinates. It needs light to germinate. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to tamp these down to make sure they're sitting flat. Okay. And that's the first of it done. Now I've taken it upon myself to tamp the soil down just a little bit so that we have a little bit of wiggle room. I'm going to start with the eggplant. I'm going to move this way. Now, do I really need 18 eggplant plants, aubergine plants? Probably not, but I would much rather have too many than too little, because as I said, I can always gift these to people. Okay. So I'm just going to do 1 seed per cell. Now, if I have any problems with germination, that's okay. I can always re-sow. And I'm the type of person that I don't like to waste things, so I know there are people out there who will do multiple sowings inside each cell, so they'll do maybe 2 or 3, and then they'll prick out the weakest one, right? And then keep the strongest one and grow that on. I really, I don't like to waste seed like that. I really don't. I would rather take the chance and do a re-sow if I need to. Now that I have the polytunnel too, if I've got a late sowing and a late germination, I can always take those plants that come up a little bit later and put them inside the polytunnel. And those will hopefully, their growing season will be extended. And these seeds are so small. Okay, so again, 1 seed per cell. That's all I'm going to do. And you could watch this for, oh, I just put 2 in there. There we go. You could watch me do the whole thing, which would be completely boring and completely unnecessary and a little redundant. So I'm going to get on with this, going to get this filled up. I'm going to get this completely covered in a nice top layer of compost, and then I'm going to show you where I go from there. Now, all of these seedlings, all of these seeds that I planted, need to have some kind of heat in order to germinate them. I do have a very special place for them, but the first thing that I want to do before I do anything else is that these are not just trays, but they also are proper propagators. So each one of these came with a lid. So I'm going to pop the lid over both of them, and this will keep the moisture inside your trays, okay? Which is really, really good. You don't want these to drop out. You do not want these to dry out. Namely, especially for me, because the place where I keep my seeds is actually a really, really warm part of the house. It's a part of the house that you have never been to, and for a good reason, because it's an absolute mess. But it's actually right behind me. So I'm going to take one of these and I'm going to head into the utility room. The warmest room in the house. It's an absolute junk room. But this is obviously, you can see my boiler is here, my tankless hot water tank is here. I have a second fridge, affectionately known as the Shacky fridge. And if you are familiar with this house, you'll know exactly what that means. If not, I will divulge what that means in due time. But anyways, I have on these baker's shelves, these baker's racks, mostly, you know, empty containers and appliances that I don't use on a regular basis, and stuff that I use for parties in the way of cutlery and paper plates and things like that. But what I will do is one by one clear these racks off. I've got these wonderful grow lamps in here, and you can see I've got both of my propagating trays up here, and they are ready to do their thing. So this room, because of the boiler, stays really, really warm. Now that the seedlings are in there, I will not be closing this door. I'm going to leave it open because it can get way too hot in there. I don't want things to get way out of hand in the way of heat. So I'm going to just set you down. One last thing I forgot to mention to you also is that those lights are on a timer. Okay, I've got one of those security light timer lights things, you know, you put in your living room or your front room, and the light goes on automatically just to, you know, dissuade burglars from breaking into your house. Well, I have one of those hooked up to there, and it's on a 12, maybe 13 hour cycle. So 13 hours off, 11 or whatever, 11 hours. Did I say that right? It's on longer than it's off, okay? And that way, like, it comes on before I wake up to get ready for work. It's on when I get home, and then it turns off on its own. So it's really, really handy. It's really convenient. And it's a super cheap way to kind of manage what's going on without having to manage it. So that's it. First seeds are in. I'm really, really excited. I've marked everything in my journal. That is all squared away. I will make sure to also, and this is another thing that you can do, make sure that if you have run out of any seeds, that you make a note of it, okay? I've got all these little notes here written on the back of the envelopes, okay? If I need something, etc. So I really hope that all of you, if not most of you, all of you have had a chance to sow something. It really has lightened my mood. I can't even tell you how much. It's almost like there's that light finally at the end of the tunnel, and we are gonna, as I look out at the blizzard that's happening right now. There is a light at the end of the tunnel. We will be able to get out into our gardens and do things, especially our friends up here in the Northeast of the United States. I know that I have a couple of people down in New Jersey that are our fellow Facebook garden enthusiasts, whatnot, who are getting socked with more snow. My answer to that is just open the door when you wake up in the morning and yell, "Stop!" Or maybe other words that may not be suitable for a YouTube audience. So anyways, thank you for tuning in. If you are new to the channel, welcome to the family. Please consider subscribing, hit the notification bell, leave any comments that you would like. If you have any tips about growing alliums or growing eggplant / aubergine or onions or whatever, please post in the comments box below. We'd love to hear any tips that you might have, not only for me, but for other people who may have never done it before. So, all right. I will see you hopefully very, very soon. There is some new content that's brewing in my head. There's also possibly something brand new that's going to be happening in my life, which is long overdue. I can expound upon that. Expound? I'll let you know what that is in due time. Take care, stay warm. I'll see you all very, very soon. So long.